Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going over a Ram 1500 Longhorn, but not just any Longhorn. This particular Longhorn has air suspension and it's lifted. So first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram here in Provo for providing us with this Ram 1500. Check out their inventory in the link below where you can actually pick up this one. It's got about 12,000 miles on it, and check out their website for the most up-to-date pricing on the truck. But let's get right into the video. So under the hood of this particular Longhorn, we have the naturally aspirated 5.7 liter V8 that's paired with the e-torque system. So power outputs are 395 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque, with the fuel economy being 17 around town, then 22 on the highway before the lift. Just kind of remember that, before the lift. And it's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Let's go over the front end on this Ram 1500 Longhorn. So it's got the standard setup for the hood. So you've got like the badging there on the side. Easy way to tell if it's a Longhorn is it'll have the chrome grille with the straight slits across the grille, and then you will get the projector LED lights. You can see that those are popped on. And then you've got the fog lights that are LEDs as well down there. You've got your tow hooks and then all your parking sensors all along the front. But the Longhorn, again, will have kind of like chrome all along the front. You can get a body color bumper with a Longhorn if you were wondering. And there's kind of like a close-up look with those LED lights. They're really, really bright. Now let's go over the tire and wheel setup. So they are 35s for the tires, 20-inch wheels there in the center. They are fuel wheels, as you can see, and the tires super aggressive. Obviously these would be great on the off-road, but most people that lift trucks like this don't necessarily take it on the off-road. Now I don't know what lift it is, but just looking at this truck compared to like a stock 1500, it looks like it's about a 4-inch lift. It might be a little bit more, but remember it has the air suspension. So this is at the top of the air suspension right now, so it actually sits a little bit higher than what it normally would. So I'll kind of like lower it down later on in the video so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. But yeah, I'm guessing a 4-inch lift. I might be wrong, so don't quote me on it. Anyways, you get the regular badging right here on the side that says Longhorn on it, and here's kind of like your side profile with the stance in the off-road 2 setting, and then I'll press the key fob to go down to like the lowest ride height setting so you guys can see kind of like what it looks like at different ride heights. Now here's a key fob for this Longhorn. You can see that you've got the unlock, the lock function, the drop down for the tailgate, the air suspension, and then the remote start. We'll do the remote start first, so just press that twice. First time I'll lock it, and then second time we'll start up that 5.7 liter V8, and it sounds pretty good. Now the next is that tailgate drop down, so you just press that twice and that'll lower that down, and that actually happens really quickly. So in this setting right now, you guys can see, if you guys are wondering, I'm about 5'11", and coming up, the tailgate's sitting at about my waist height, just so you guys can get an idea of just how high this is off the ground with the lift. This one already has a spray-in bed liner. You've got LED bed lights here on both sides. You got a little cargo light there at the top, and then if you're wondering, this one has a 5'7" bed, and well, that's all for the back. Now let's finish things up with the rest of the rear. So you've got the rest of your like Longhorn 4x4 badging, Ram badging, all of that, and then you've got the full LED lights back here. I really like the LED lights on the new generation Rams. It just has a really nice clean look. Still get your parking sensors all along the back, and again, I just want to kind of like give you guys an idea of just how tall this is, because it's absolutely massive. Well, I'm sure all of you guys were wanting to see this, so we'll do the air suspension. So you just press this button twice on the key fob, and that'll do the lowering. So you guys can see the truck is lowering in real time, and it kind of goes from like front to back to front, all over the place to kind of lower. So you can see it does it all kind of in separate motions, not all in one motion, but it still kind of happens nonetheless. And now that this is kind of lowering down into the entry exit mode, it almost looks like it isn't lifted at all. Like you can still tell it's lifted, but definitely like different ride heights. So this is the lowest ride height setting. Wait, I think it's still lowering actually. I was wrong, guys. It's still going down. Just give it another second. Okay, wait. It's still going. This is taking forever, literally. Okay, there we go. Now I'm pretty sure this is like the lowest ride height setting with it. I'll put it in the normal mode before we take it out to drive it so you guys can kind of see what that looks like as well. But yeah, there's your stance at like the lowest ride height setting with this truck with the lift. Man, this is so crazy. So this is the lowest ride height setting, and it's like the same height as a regular truck. It's so weird. Anyways, you guys can see here with the door pin, I've got the brown leather right here, and then you've got the wood trim, then you've got kind of like the lighter brown leather, really nice materials in general. And then here are the back seats with the Longhorn, just really nice. Again, this is like your top line luxury package, but then Western themed. And of course we got to pop in. So with the running boards, it's really easy to get in now. Once I have it in like the higher ride height setting, it is a little bit more difficult to get in, but the running boards still make things pretty easy. Now you guys can see, you got this legroom down here, you've got little saddle bags, and then You can see there you've got all your charging areas. You do get heated and cooled seats in this one, and a full power outlet, and got the little cup holder pull out in the back. So again, this truck's fully loaded. I just popped in quickly and put it into the normal mode. So this is the mode that you'll drive it in like 90% of the time. So this is like the stance the truck will have most of your driving experience. And again, compare that to a stock truck. I mean, yeah, it's so much higher. It's just absolutely crazy. But obviously you're gonna pop in the front. This does have the keyless entry, so that will lock it, and then just put your hand right there and then that'll unlock it. You guys can see the ivory tri-coat on this one. Absolutely beautiful. It's my favorite paint color with the Rams. And then here's the door panel here at the front. Everything's identical to the rear. This one does have the power folding mirrors. You just press that little button right there, and then that'll fold in the mirrors. Your memory seat functions right here, all of your window controls. And then here are the seats at the front. And again, you got the Longhorn badging right there, or not badging, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, here's your adjustments on the side of the seat. And then you can see down here the pedal layout, and look at the floor mats. Super, super nice with the floor mats. You got your pedal adjustments, you got your parking brake right there, your light controls, steering wheel adjustment, and that's all before we pop in. Now let's start her up. So just press that, and it'll say Laramie Longhorn, and everything will pop on to life. Now here is the steering wheel in the Longhorn. So you've got the smoother leather around the steering wheel, and then you've got really nice wood trim there at the top of the steering wheel. You've got your cruise control right here, and then your adaptive cruise control right there on the side, your gear selector over there, and then this is for the center stack, your voice command and phone control area. And then you got nice wood trim down there on that part as well. They do brown stitching with it. And then that's your stock for the turn signal, also the windshield wipers and the high beams, and that's the steering wheel. So here's the gauges on the Longhorn. Again, they go for that Western theme with the gauges. So you can see the RPMs and the speed. They kind of just look Westernized, if that makes sense. But the thing that I want to see is, yes, this is what I want to see, fuel economy. So that's what the person has been averaging with this, is 11.9 miles per gallon, which for a lift, that actually isn't too bad. Let's see what the trip is actually. Oh, not that many miles. Well, it's okay. At least we got something, guys. At least we have something for the fuel economy. Now you can see the 12-inch display, which is just absolutely massive. So you got climate controls flanking either side of it, and then you get your volume controls right there. Now down here at the bottom, you've got your controls for the parking sensors, and you can see you've got your control for the tow haul mode, stability control. This is where you raise or lower the air suspension from the interior, so press down for down, up for up, pretty straightforward. Your trailer brake control is right there, and then just right next to it, you've got the controls for the transmission. It is a dial, and don't worry, I mean, you can see this is way different in size compared to the radio dial. But you've got your little two-wheel drive selects, your four-wheel auto, four-wheel high, your true neutral, your four-wheel low, and then your auto stop start right there in that little area. And then just notice all the nice materials all around it, and that's all for that. Now coming back to the center touchscreen, let's first go to the reverse camera, kind of see how that looks. Obviously, since the truck's lifted, you think that it would change things a ton, but honestly, it doesn't change things that much. You can see the view is still really solid out of the back of the truck, still pretty easy to see out that. And then you can see out the front as well. And then we can go to the full view with the zoom in on the receiver hitch. So all that works great. And then obviously this does have the surround camera system. So that's what all those views were. And then the bird's eye view as well. And then you can control the heated and cooled seats, which we're gonna turn that on all the way because it's getting pretty toasty today. You can pop out the steps whenever you'd like with the infotainment system as well. And then going away from the camera system with the rest of the 12-inch display, it's really responsive with the touch time. It's absolutely massive. You can do like split screen function with certain things on the touchscreen as well. And other than that, it's a really good unit and it looks cool. I've got this whole center console area. So got the Longhorn emblem right there at the top. And then you guys have seen the center console a bunch of times. So lined with felt, you got little USB in there. You got the tables in the back. This slides backwards and forwards. And you got all the wood trim, which is just really nice there on the top. And then in this little area, you can see you've got a couple USBs and a CD player, since this one is a 2019, wireless charging. And then you got your full power outlet there at the bottom with that. And then closing all of this up, it's kind of what it looks like when it's closed up, and then that's put back in position. Coming over here, we've got the glove box, which it's nice. It's all lined with felt, and we've got the original window sticker. So we'll kind of look at that later. Even though that's not the pricing now, at least you guys will be able to see all the options this truck has. And that's the glove box area, and that's all. Now up top with this truck, you got the universal garage door opener. This one does have a power window, just like all the other Longhorns. And then this one also has the panoramic sunroof option, which definitely a nice option to go for if you want a bunch more light let into the cabin. And that's all for the top. So again, like I said, this is not the price on the truck because this is pre-owned. Check out the Dodge Ram and Provo's website for the most up-to-date pricing on this truck. But you can see the original base MSRP and all the standard equipment if you want to freeze the frame on any of this. The most important stuff is going to be the optional equipment. So this this is what this comes with as optional equipment. There's that kind of whole section. So you can see the total MSRP. Brand new, this was $69,440. Now with the lift, to lift a truck with air suspension, from what I know, it costs about $4,000, somewhere in that range, because the air suspension makes things tricky. And then you have the tires and wheels, so this whole setup's probably north of $6,000, maybe $7,000 roughly, somewhere in that range. Might be a little bit cheaper depending on where you go, but that's kind of my rough estimate on how much that would cost to put all that stuff on. And well, let's take her out and see how she drives. Let's quickly talk about visibility here in the truck before we set off. So there's your visibility over the hood, super solid, and even though it's lifted, it really doesn't change things too much. And then here's your visibility through both of the mirrors. And the lift actually makes things even better because you're so high above the ground that you can pretty much just see everything that's happening, and it gives you a cool driving experience. Anyways, let's set off. Well, we are pretty much getting up and going here with this lifted Ram 1500, and again, like I said, the first thing that I noticed is just like how high you are up off the ground. I mean, that's gonna be obvious. It doesn't change things too much. Now, if a car is really low to the ground, obviously you're gonna have to kind of tilt your mirrors to get around it. Had to do that in the parking lot just a little bit. But other than that, it's super easy to drive. And the thing I'm most impressed with is the ride quality. So usually when you lift a truck, it'll kind of run the ride quality a little bit. It'll make it just float around a little too much. It'll make it ride really rough as well. But this so far is actually doing a really good job of not doing that, which is definitely what you want with a truck like this. And yeah, it's super solid. Like, yeah, the stuff doesn't upset it too much. Obviously going over stuff like that's always going to upset any vehicle, no matter how smooth the ride is. But this does really well on the road. I'm super impressed, actually. I'm really impressed with how good this is. And let's kind of see how the steering is coming up through here. So yeah, it doesn't feel too much different from stock. There's definitely a little bit more vagueness for sure, but it doesn't feel too much different. And by the way, if you're wondering, it doesn't pull or anything to one side or the other. I know a lot of people worry about that with lifts, and I'm super impressed with this like lift and this whole setup in general. Like, this is probably the best truck to lift actually, because the Rams are the smoothest right now, and so it's just such a good truck to lift from the start because it's smoother than everything else. So when you lift it, doesn't feel too crazy compared to other trucks. But yeah, this is good. Well, we're gonna get our acceleration and see how the lift has affected that. Really hasn't. It pretty much feels the same. It feels like it's almost, you almost can't perceive it, honestly, the difference between this and a stock truck with the acceleration. It's a little bit slower. I can definitely feel it's a little bit slower, but it's very hard to perceive. You'd have to either drive these trucks all the time like I do and kind of know exactly how the acceleration feels, or you'd have to drive them back to back. And if you don't do that, then you're really not going to feel a huge difference between the acceleration with this and then a stock truck. So I'm not really seeing a huge downside here with the lift. You can still use the air suspension. It looks really good, still drives smooth, the acceleration still feels about the same, and so there really isn't a downside. Like, everything about this truck is super solid and it looks better. And the nicest thing about this one is, since it's pre-owned, you obviously aren't going to be paying for the lift. The lift was already kind of bought, and again, don't quote me on that. I don't know if I'm pretty sure the dealership didn't put the lift on it, but if they did, obviously that'd be a little bit different. But I'm pretty sure the person traded this in lifted like this. Slow down there, Tiger. Anyways, pretty sure the person traded in the lift, like the truck lifted like this, and so it just saves you a ton of money with something like this. And 12,000 miles, this truck's, it looks brand new pretty much. I know 12,000 miles is not a lot, but this is a really nice truck. Like, I know I usually don't talk about like the specific vehicle I'm driving when I do reviews, but like, I really like this specific truck. It's in really good condition and it drives really nice. Like, it's a nice truck. That's all. And there we have it, everyone. This Ram 1500 Longhorn with the lift. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Dodge Ram here in Provo for providing us with the truck. Check out them, return the link below. I will see all of you guys in the next video.